Hey, it's Phoenix and Diamond. We were attempting to play the cat lady, but it kept crashing on my game and I had to see if I could issue a refund for it. So that's fun. So instead we're playing Dagon, which I have no idea what this is. I bought it. It's in my Steam library. I don't know what the hell this game is, so we're going in completely blind. Right. I don't know if this is a visual novel. I literally have no idea. It just has that pretty Cthulhu-looking artwork on the front, and that's it. And the Steam page like gives me no clues as to like what this is at all. So let's find out. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot. So, I wonder if it's like a visual novel.
Maybe.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
Cool. During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal intersecting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. It looks like a stick.
Oh boy.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
I don't mean to be so fucking dramatic, man. See, drug addict, cool. But
do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
I think you are. I'm just gonna assume that now that he said it.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Okay. Elder sign. Morphine! Morphine entered into use in the 19th century and was routinely administered to treat severe pain during the American Civil War, 1861 to 1865, and World War I, 1914 and 1918. It was also sold without restrictions until 1914. Excellent. Morphine became more popular after the invention of the hypodermic syringe around 1845, and they were not thin like our syringes are today, so that motherfucker hurt. Frederick Searchinger, who first isolated the substance, originally named it morphium, after Morpheus, the Greek god associated with dreams. At the time when Dagon was published, morphine abuse, known as soldier's disease, already posed a big problem in the United States. Oh my god, we're learning history! You can read the discovered trivia. You can rediscover trivia immediately or go back to them later. In the main menu, turn off display trivia if you find that the feature distracts you from the story. This can be changed anytime, and the option show trivia upon finding them. Cool.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Cool. It's a ship. I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
The Great War was
I'm
then
on a
at
boat.
its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
The Hun. What kind of flag is that? Is that a German flag?
So that our
Got like a
vessel
black eagle
was
on it.
made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Cool.
Whee.
Yeah, what is that? The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads. Oh, literally the Huns, who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century, and they were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans. Oh, okay. In order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on the 27th of July, 1900, before they remarked to China, "Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls onto your hands is forfeited." Just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their king Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. The refusal to make prisoners was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Uh-huh. Getting on a smaller boat, maybe.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Cool.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
So romantic.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
What is that? Meow! I heard something.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Oh, is that like a seagull I'm hearing?
Maybe.
Which one am I supposed to click on? What am I supposed to click on?
Just a second.
The moon.
The weather kept fair.
I hear someone going,
I
"Meow!"
drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
I know it's like a seagull, but it sounds like someone going "Meow" in the background.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
It sounds like someone going "Meow" in the background.
The change happened whilst I slept.
The change?
Its details I shall never know.
Did you trans?
For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested,
Did you change your
was
late?
continuous.
Did you transgender in your sleep? Oh. Fishy. At least the ground's solid. Why is he pumping the unmoving water? That's weird. That over there is not the same as that. That's weird. Squid!
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
I'm more astonished than horrified, but that's because I'm frequently exposed to weird shit.
For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Is it soil, or does it just look like the water's frozen? Looks like bloody. Looks like cranberry sauce almost.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Yeah, I remember people describing Lovecraft's words just having way too much flowery prose, or purple prose is what it's called. And it's just a lot.
Yeah.
People even in his own day were like, Howard, shut the fuck up.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime.
Just
Yet
say
the very
things plainly.
completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Hey, but it worked for him.
I mean, it did work for him. There is, like, obviously a flavor to the purple prose, but, like, it's definitely abused. The man's long dead, so he gets to get away with it. He was not successful when he was alive. He was also super racist, which has to be noted anytime the son of a bitch is mentioned.
The sun was blazing
Yeah,
down
because
from
of
a
his
sky
cat.
which seemed to me almost
Of a
black
very
in its
racist name.
cloudless
You know, so you
cruelty,
become famous,
as though reflecting
and
the
you're a piece of
marsh
shit.
beneath my feet.
You must always be mentioned after your death that you were, in fact, a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
All the squids. My boat. Oh, that looks like a little ancient critter. Well, the origins of Dagon. Dagon seems to be inspired by Fishhead, a short novel by Irving S. Cobb about unnatural affiliates between a hybrid idiot and the strange fish of an isolated lake, supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft. And Lovecraft's dream about a strange island emerging from the ocean and him crawling in the ooze that covered its surface. I dream that whole hideous crawling can yet feel the ooze sucking me down in defense of Dagon, H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft's interest in the topic stemmed from his aversion to fish and sea smells, in his own words. I have hated fish and feared the sea and everything connected with it since I was 2 years old, but I can not recall what early experience gave me such profound and lasting aversion to the sea and seafood. The Dweller in Darkness, Lovecraft, 1972, Donald Wandere. So there's kind of this thing where, like, if you hate spiders, you either hate spiders and don't talk about spiders, or you hate spiders and you obsess about spiders. And to me, I feel like if you hate spiders and you obsess about spiders, you actually love spiders. You just haven't quite figured that out yet.
I just talk about the bad experience I had with
As
the
I
thing I
crawled
hate.
into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
Yeah, but you don't, like, make an entire writing career based off the thing you hate, like Lovecraft did, you know? It becomes like, if you hate something so much, you kind of need to stop and realize there must be a reason you have an obsession with that thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fish!
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Is that what this is?
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Fish!
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
Oh god, the sun's moving.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
Now it just looks like shit.
Yeah.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Man, those squids never run out of energy. They've just been going all day.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
That squid is just legs straight. Oh, is that one of those stupid sunfish sticking out of the water right there? Or out of the mud?
The odor of the fish
mola
was
mola?
maddening.
Yeah.
But I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Is it bad that I don't like the mola mola?
It's stupid, isn't it? Like,
It's so stupid.
it's an idiot.
It's the biggest idiot, yet people love it.
It's so stupid because sharks just eat it and it just doesn't care.
All day, I
Oh.
forged steadily westward.
It's also
guided by
ridiculously
a faraway
huge.
hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Look at this weird shit sticking out of the mud. Okay. Nothing special that I can see. Oh gosh. A whale! Oh no! Oh, I feel bad now. Oh. There would be a lot more shit if this was like the bottom of the ocean drained out. And it'd probably look more like a valley.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
Hammock?
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance. An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain,
I mean, you have no idea where you are, and I'm that a lot of anxiety is probably coming up in your sleep.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again, and in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day. Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy. Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence. I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Oh gosh, too wordy that
I
one.
felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost,
Oh my god, he's so pretentious, this character.
and of Satan's
He's
hideous
red.
climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness.
He takes morphine and he's read Paradise Lost. This is like the 19th century version of edgy.
As
Oh,
the moon
God.
climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
We're gonna leap
Ledges
off.
and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Cool, I guess. It's not quite Legend of Zelda Breath of the
Urged
Wild.
on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated.
The Stygian deeps.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
It's the cube.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself. But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
Yeah, I can tell that too.
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
I'm gonna start critiquing H.P. Lovecraft's fucking writing here real quick. You don't need to include archaeologists. They are a scientist. This is a little redundant.
Yeah.
The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
That is not the same size as what we saw before.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions, and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
Okay.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me, and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Dude, you just took PNGs from fucking Google and just overlaid them on there. Bruh.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like.
Conventionalized? Maybe it's on purpose.
Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world. But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings at the Mountains of Madness, the Nameless City, journals and characters' notes, the Shadow Out of Time, the Haunter of the Dark, islands emerging from the ocean, the Call of Cthulhu, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies, Mingo in the Whisper in Darkness. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order to not spoil the ending.
Plainly visible across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
I don't know what that
I
means.
think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men.
Merman!
Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well. Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail,
Bruh.
for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
Calm down, man.
Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
That's racist, by the way.
Glassy.
Oh boy!
And other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough,
I don't know if it is, but it sounds racist.
Badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
That's a lot of assumption from that particular picture. I don't know, maybe the illustration's just not very good.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
From what I'm seeing here, that tribe can draw pretty damn good.
Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
Doesn't sound too silent.
With only a slight churning to
Oh.
mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Oh. Oh, shit!
Loathsome, it darted like a stupendous nightmares to the monolith,
Oh boy!
Scared the shit out of me.
about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, bowed its hideous head.
My Xbox controller fell off my stand.
I think I went mad then.
I just gave the pillar a hug. Like, come on.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Oh.
I believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
That's kind of like the disadvantage of trying to portray his work in a visual medium, because it kind of does make it feel a little flat. It loses the mystery and the feeling.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat.
Oh gosh.
At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
The ocean is falling back from the sky. That's what's happening. I'm sure of it.
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital,
Oh god.
brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
I have no body.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Cool. A journalist. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative. Blech. Which included political and social commentary, poetry, short stories, and literary criticism written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again. For the first time since his teenage years, Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. In this example excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction explains his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations could undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries and a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or ever can be above warfare until the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed.
The human animal.
Thanks, Howard. That's lovely.
Thanks, Howie.
That's
Thanks,
lovely.
Thanks, Howie.
You can see why I want to throw punch this guy.
Like, I'm not giving him the respect of calling him Howard. I'm calling him Howie.
The ho-ho.
Yeah, I'm calling him Howie. Because
Howie.
Howie is short for Howard.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Ethnologist.
Ethnologist? What is that?
Oh boy, time to look it up. Time to look it up.
Ethnologist.
I looked it up. An ethnologist is a specialist in the field of ethnology, which is a study of human societies and cultures, including their origins, characteristics, and relationships.
Wouldn't they be just
They are basically anthropologists who focus on the comparative and analytical studies of different cultures.
Why would you look for that when you just had a weird dream?
Why would you look for that when you had a dream about a fucking fish god? Like,
Well, I mean, it is a fish god. Also, nice statue.
like, yeah, damn.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Dagon was the main deity of Dagon was the main deity
The
of
funny
the
thing
Philistines.
I have to chuckle a little bit because the name Dagon is literally a enemy from Phantasy Star Online 2.
Oh, lovely. Worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He was also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's work,
Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the ocean. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon.
Cool. Oh, look at
Great.
my plush seat. I have no belly fat because I am scooted right up to this thing. Boobies!
Not myself.
Boobies!
Boobies? What?
Do you not see him? Right there.
I thought that was a hand.
No, it's a woman's torso with no head and no arms. And boobies.
She's got her boobs out.
Boobies! Oh, over here, I guess.
I like how we're just like boobs.
Boobs.
Perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional.
Bro, of course he has just a fucking Necronomicon on his fucking desk. You know, written in a Texan style of a more modern book rather than one from the 20th century.
I gotta look.
August the Lithrit and the Cthulhu mythos. August the Leth. Wasn't.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Where? August Derleth was an American writer and an anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane.
I thought I heard once that he was asked if he would create a mythos. There was someone that talked to him about it. I could have swore that Cthulhu mythos was coined when he was alive, because I remember there being something where Lovecraft said he kind of laughed about it because he rather wanted it to be called the Yog-Sothian mythos, because I think Yog-Soth is like a greater deity than Cthulhu. Like, Cthulhu comes up a lot, but he's not really like that big of an important deity. So Lovecraft actually thought it was kind of weird to name the mythos after Cthulhu when
because
Yog-Sothoth
Cthulhu was a fucking priest.
Yeah, because Yog-Sothoth is like the bigger. There's Yog-Sothoth and then there's Azathoth, and I think Azathoth is like the blind idiot god, so it's just the massive creation, and Yog-Sothoth is like the smart one that like organizes shit. I'm probably getting this completely wrong, but it's been like a decade since I really cared a lot about Lovecraft, so.
Man, I just only had like one favorite, and that's Hastur.
I like Hastur too. Hastur's cool.
I also liked the black goat.
Oh, yeah, that you can't say the name of because
because it's both cursed and also like she has like 1,000 babies.
It's got the N-word. He uses the N-word because he's so fucking racist.
Like,
why did I walk over to the clock?
I don't know.
Fucking weirdo.
Oh! Lady Shub, I'll call her.
Lady Shub.
Yeah, cause she's referred to the black goat of the wood with 1,000 young.
Especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Good job.
So now,
Good job.
I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
No, not the sewer slide.
Oh no, not the life ending.
Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Do you want to read this?
Yeah. Lovecraft hated tobacco even though he used to smoke when he was 12, in order to look and feel like an adult. In his correspondence with friend Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Zelia Brown, dated February 13th, 1928. Jesus Christ. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intend to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or courses the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. Drinking excited my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition. The prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as any other. Source: The Spirit of Revision, Lovecraft's letters to Zelia Brown, Reed, Bishop, H.P. Lovecraft, Sean Branney, and Andrew Leman, S.T. Joshi.
He's such a pretentious brick. Like, he's definitely like one of those he's definitely like one of those soy right boys that's like hyper conservative and just thinks he's better than everyone else. Like,
he's like Andrew Tate without like having been a kickboxer.
I swear, no, I think he's more like Ben Shapiro. He thinks he's like
Tate
superior than everyone else.
Andrew Tate and Ben Shapiro kind of fall into the same sphere.
Well, they're in the same sphere, but Andrew Tate's more like, oh, hyper-masculine, trafficking women is cool. And Andrew Tate's like, I'm Jewish and Israel.
You mean Ben Shapiro?
Yeah, Ben Shapiro.
And
You ever been to a Home Depot?
oh my god, I'm so upset by what the president's doing, even though like I was totally riding his dick earlier. Anyways.
Even though I was sucking a slug.
Oh my god. Anyway, no, like
Sorry.
he definitely
I'm a
reminds. He reminds me of one of the, because he's also like one of those dudes that could like live in total contradiction because he was hugely anti-Semitic, and he was anti-Semitic, knowingly married a Jewish woman, and she was like, "Why are you so anti-Semitic? And you married me." He's like, "Well, you're one of the good ones." And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me, bitch?" They did eventually divorce because he was such a dickhead.
Yeah.
Uh,
I would try to say Lady Shub's name, but
Often
I would have
I
to like
ask myself
heavily
if it could
fuck
not
up how
all
I
have been a
say
pure
like the
phantasm.
last part of her name.
uh-huh.
A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open
Oh,
boat
the sun
after
ran
I
away.
escaped from the German man of war. This I ask
Like-
myself.
Damn.
Ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply? I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed.
Dude, it's literally hundreds of miles away from you. Calm down, they ain't coming for ya.
Worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
It's like people being like so upset about like what other people doing or like hundreds of
I
miles
dream
away.
of
It's
the
like,
day
calm
when
down.
they rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
God.
Oh boy.
Let me click on this poorly resembling Statue of Liberty. This is not what
Yeah.
Ellis Island looks like. Oh, what the frick? What the? I have no sheets on my mattress. What kind of fucking barbarian am I?
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
Is that what I'm here? Oh. Oh.
Yeah, remembering how I like Lady Shub, she also had kids with Haster and Yog Sothoth.
She's busy.
Well, yeah, she was busy with almost every fucking god there was. Like, goddamn! She had so many kids.
God, that hand!
Oh my god.
It's a hand! Oh
The
no!
window!
Howie got
The
scared of a
window.
hand!
Winded.
Oh my-
Goodbye!
Goodbye!
Goodbye, Howie!
Thanks for playing.
Cool.
I hope you enjoyed immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out the other games in DLC. No!
Yes. I will leave feedback. Where do I leave
Let's-
feedback? Please write a review. Did I pay anything for this? Or was it free?
Maybe scroll down. It was free. The demo was free, but the game itself, probably not free.
Demo cool.
Demo cool. HP Lovecraft was not cool.
Demo cool.
HP Lovecraft was a little pussy boy. Oh, you could play it in VR too. Oh boy!
Oh boy! I wasn't quite able to tell what the game was. Started playing. HP inspired stuff, but not so much HP's pros.
HP's pros is
Suppose it's fine for what it is. Just not my cup of tea. Demo cool. Wasn't quite able to tell what the game was until I started playing. I like HP inspired stuff, but not so much HP's pros. Suppose it's fine for what it is, just not my cup of tea. Would you recommend?
yeah.
I wouldn't give a yes or no because, like,
Would
it
you
depends.
recommend it? I don't fucking know.
Like, if you're really in the HP club crowd, you're probably gonna love it. But like,
If not, then
it's a strange experience. To imagine it yourself. It's a strange experience going over the pros without being able to force to imagine yourself. Visuals kinda take some of the mystery out of it. Demo cool. Wasn't quite able to tell what the game was until I started playing. That's what she's pros. So it's fine for what it is. That's not my cup of tea. It's a strange experience going to. I personally wouldn't spend money on it. Demo cool was quite able to tell. That's what she suppose. I suppose it's fine. It's a strange experience going through pros of the mystery out of it. I'm just gonna say no.
goodness.
Anyways, I guess that's it. Oh my god, stop it,
No.
Steam.
Shut up, Steam.
What the? What's all this shit on my fucking screen? Okay, back. Cool. Anyways, bye!
Bye.